Author Robert Greene passionately believes that every person has the ability to become a master within their lifetime. However, this journey to mastery is accomplished by so few people that Greene set out to discover what it is that makes someone a master. Throughout this discovery, the journey of famous masters is analyzed, and the lessons are translated by Greene into actions that everyone should be taking. The journey is hard, and it's long, but the result is an immortal legacy of an individual's triumph over commonplace living. Here is what you'll learn about in this book summary. What mastery means and how to find your life's task. Creating your apprenticeship and why it's critical to mastery. The importance of social intelligence and dimensional thinking. Crucial quotes. Quote, "You must not see this process of moving through levels of intelligence as merely linear, heading towards some kind of ultimate destination known as mastery. Your whole life is a kind of apprenticeship to which you apply your learning skills. Everything that happens to you is a form of instruction if you pay attention. The creativity that you gain in learning a skill so deeply must be constantly refreshed as you keep forcing your mind back to a state of openness." Quote, "If you allow yourself to learn who you really are by paying attention to that voice and force within you, then you can become what you were fated to become, an individual, a master." Quote, "You cannot ultimately understand why you are drawn to certain activities or forms of knowledge. This cannot really be verbalized or explained. It's simply a fact of nature. In following this voice, you realize your own potential and satisfy your deepest longings to create and express your uniqueness. It exists for a purpose, and it is your life's task to bring it to fruition." Tweetable summary. In Mastery, Robert Greene offers each person a chance to become a master using Renaissance thinking adapted with a 21st century advantage. Now, let's dive into the first big idea. Big idea number 1, understanding mastery. Quote, "This is the real secret. The brain that we possess is the work of 6 million years of development. And more than anything else, this evolution of the brain was designed to lead us to mastery, the latent power within us all." Unquote. Now, most people tend to acquiesce to living an ordinary life. They generally accept their circumstances, and while some might try to ascend from their current position, most just don't. In comparison to the masters of history, people like Albert Einstein, Marie Curie, John Coltrane, Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart, and Temple Grandin, most people today won't accomplish much in their lifetime. Robert Greene sets out in his book Mastery to dispel this myth that masters have some special gift that eludes the average person. His strong belief is that everyone can achieve mastery at some point in their lives and then sustain this elevated status. Greene defines mastery as the point where we feel we have a greater command of reality, other people, and ourselves. Masters will come to have this experience constantly and consistently throughout their lives. The process begins with a basic introduction to a skill or field of passionate interest. At first, the student is required to learn a great deal of information, and then to overcome feelings of boredom and impatience and even fear during this stage. Eventually, the task becomes more inherent. It becomes easier, more fluid, more easily understood. There comes a point where the basic skills are blended with the student's own style and personality. They become a practitioner of the skill. If they persist in this process of learning, doing, and adapting, they will become masters. Now, achieving mastery elevates the power and status of the individual. At this point, the level of understanding and intuition far surpasses the average person, and as Greene states, brings a tremendous practical power as well. Mastery is when the mind is no longer trapped by consciousness, and yet it's still able to create conscious solutions and innovations that are highly valuable. It's a transformation from a world of rote learning to a world of exploring, questioning, and understanding. Masters are able to gain keen insight into social situations and place themselves within the worlds of others to understand the impact of actions in verbal exchanges. Greene uses in-depth analysis of historical and current great masters to identify the traits that led to their success. They all had youthful passions that somehow led to future mastery. They were all immersed into an apprenticeship, whether by design or by accident, where they spent years honing their craft and challenging their minds to tasks of higher thinking. They were all willing to work harder and longer than everyone else, and they all showed a deep and powerful inclination toward a particular, specific subject. Greene exhorts every reader or listener to seek this path, to follow their inclination, to value their passion, and to be willing to put any effort required into this journey to mastery. Know that mastery is critical and it's wonderful. People will go as far as they challenge themselves and their minds. Big idea number 2, finding your life's task. Quote, "At your birth, a seed is planted. That seed is your uniqueness. It wants to grow, transform itself, and flower to its full potential. It has a natural, assertive energy to it. Your life's task is to bring that seed to flower, to express your uniqueness through your work. You have a destiny to fulfill." Unquote. The feelings within you, the passions you experience, and some of the circumstances of your life can lead you to your life's task. According to Greene, this is something you are born to do. But it's not something that's going to come easily or quickly. Social pressures can push you in the opposite direction of your life's task, as often happens with many other people. Many masters had to push against such pressures from their family, friends, and society as they worked to fulfill their life's task. The hidden force within you is always there, and it's always ready to be engaged if you listen to it. In working towards mastery, there will come a point where you no longer need structured instruction and you'll begin to blaze your own trail. Many people lack this connection with their sense of purpose, but it can be found. Greene says to start with your beginnings. What were you fascinated by as a child? What couldn't you get enough of? What were you passionate about? What gave you a sense of wonder? Looking at these answers may lead you to the spark that becomes your life's task. Sit down and try to answer those questions in a journal. You may find that there were a few different passions that you had as a child. Follow each of them as far as you can. Often, masters combine passions, not realizing until later on that these passions were interconnected in spectacular ways. Here's an example. Yoki Matsuoka is a wonderful example of this. She excelled in school, but decided at 11 years old that she wanted to be a tennis player. After a seemingly confusing journey, she became a pioneer in the field of neurobotics, excelling in creating prosthetics that mimicked human movement and sensation. It was her love of how her arms and body moved during tennis, combined with her scientific mind, that led to this mastery. Sometimes masters need to rebel against expectations to find their life's task. Mozart was a child prodigy when it came to playing the piano, but he needed to rebel against this false path because his life's task was actually composing. This is where he truly became a master. A false path can also be one that you are attracted to for the wrong reasons, like money or fame or attention and so on. A true life's task, though, is followed because of internal passion that comes from within, not from without, not external reward. Now, of course, the external rewards are nice and they often follow, but they're never the real inner motivation. You might find that you are on the wrong path years into adulthood. Greene says that your experiences can still contribute, but you must leave the false path once you recognize it as one. It can require great sacrifice as well to seek your life's task. Perhaps that is why so few find it. You need to see that in the future, this effort that you put in now will be rewarded. Sometimes your weaknesses are the primary indication of your life's task. Greene encourages you to analyze your weaknesses only as a path to direct you to your strengths. When you focus on developing your strengths, you become more confident and focus your energy efficiently. Big idea number 3, the apprenticeship. Quote, "The goal of an apprenticeship is not money, a good position, a title, or a diploma, but rather the transformation of your mind and character." Unquote. The transformation acquired through an apprenticeship is critical to the development of mastery. This apprenticeship is not necessarily a formal one or one in the traditional sense. An apprenticeship is the intense focus on learning and growing the passions associated with your life's task. At first, an apprenticeship is to be treated as if you were an outsider looking in. Don't assume to have any knowledge or any skills. Acquire every piece of understanding that you possibly can. Become structured in your learning, disciplined and willing to put in every effort you can to learn. Learn. Go where you can learn the most and never pick the easiest path. Greene identifies 3 steps in an apprenticeship. At first, you are passive in observing everything and absorbing its reality as deeply as possible. You almost step out of the picture so you can have a clear view of everything. Understand the unspoken rules in your environment and learn what the politics are and how they work. These skills of observing and understanding will be used throughout your journey and into mastery. After this phase of observing, you move into a phase of intense practice. This is where you become so adept at the physical skills of your apprenticeship, you can eventually accomplish them without conscious thought. This may take years and will require the utmost in resolve and determination. At this point, you begin to critique your own work. You have already excelled in knowledge and understanding, and you can now dictate to yourself where improvements are necessary. You also begin to find more efficient ways of completing tasks. Consider devoting 10,000 hours of your life to this phase, which correlates with research into mastery. Finally, review your progress, looking for gaps to fill, actively experimenting, and always challenging yourself. When you have the feeling that you have nothing remaining to learn in your apprenticeship, it's time to move on. You have learned how to learn. Always throughout your apprenticeship, focus on how you can learn, not how much you can make financially. Accept your initial low position and always be working to learn and grow, Never be satisfied with the knowledge you have now. Always seek more. Spend time with all types of people and make this experience part of your apprenticeship. At all costs, avoid any sense of superiority. Be humble and open to all learning experiences. Always be ready to take notes. This process is exceedingly difficult, but it is necessary. Very necessary. You are the only one who can disable this opportunity, so overcome challenges, keep on learning, and do not quit. The apprenticeship works. When you have to work harder than everyone else to gain skills, when you have to put more effort in than everybody else, you will become better than everyone else at those same skills. Pain and struggles can be your closest allies. Failure is simply a chance to learn more about yourself and your environment. For masters, failure is often the impetus to their ultimate success. Big idea number 4. Acquire a mentor, surpass their knowledge. Quote, to learn requires a sense of humility. We must admit that there are people out there who know our field much more deeply than we do. Their superiority is not a function of natural talent or privilege, but rather of time and experience. Their authority in the field is not based on politics or trickery. It is very real. Unquote. Alongside your apprenticeship, you need a mentor or a set of mentors. These are people who you can gain further knowledge and insight from. They are people with authority in the same field as your life's task. Greene emphasizes the importance of approaching this relationship with your mentor with humility and with submission. You will gain all the learning that they acquired during your apprenticeship, but in a much shorter time than they did, as they teach you invaluable lessons and strategies for learning. Their feedback will save you time and mistakes. Mentors feel invested in the people they mentor. They care deeply about your progress and thrive on the attention and focus they receive from you as you learn from them. Anything you can do that gains you more personal time with your mentor is worth it. If you're not able to attract a mentor, you will need to gain as much additional knowledge as you can through books, but always be on the lookout for a good mentor. In order to get the most from your mentors, Greene has 4 strategies. First, pick a mentor that will enhance your goals of acquiring knowledge and understanding in the fields you're passionate about. Second, always have an attitude of willingness towards new beginnings and challenges. A mentor who is willing to push you out of your comfort zone through tough love and harsh challenges will get the most out of you in the long run. Third, take what they give you and transform it into something greater. Actively engage your mind as you acquire the best that they have to offer you, and then use your uniqueness to improve upon it. Finally, engage in a relationship where you both give and take. Your relationship relies on honest feedback and questioning and the challenging of ideas. At some point, your knowledge will become equal to or greater than your mentors. The relationship will begin to change. Your ultimate goal must always be to gain everything you can from your mentor and then to move on. As Greene suggests, you must not allow yourself to feel any guilt when the time comes to assert yourself. Big idea number 5. Acquire social intelligence. Quote, social intelligence is the ability to see people in the most realistic light possible. By moving past our usual self-absorption, we can learn to focus deeply on others, reading their behavior in the moment, seeing what motivates them, and discerning any possible manipulative tendencies. Navigating smoothly the social environment, we have more time and energy to focus on learning and acquiring skills. Success attained without this intelligence is not true mastery and will not last. Unquote. In very simple terms, social intelligence is being able to figure out how people work. It's being able to figure people out and use them to your advantage. It's a necessary skill in the journey towards mastery. As Greene tells us, all the knowledge and skills in the world will not be useful or appreciated if you cannot translate them in a way that people can accept. Many masters learned the hard way the importance of social intelligence. They first assumed that their brilliance and talent would get them instant acceptance into social circles. Eventually, they all learned that this just wasn't enough. Social intelligence requires keen observation of others, along with developing an understanding of what people care about, how they interact, and how to gain advantage through their willing or unknowing participation. It's critical to accept people as they really are without judging them or trying to change them. Someone with high social intelligence will be able to be truly charming in a way that almost has people spellbound. It enables the master to avoid unnecessary confrontations. So honestly evaluate past incidences to understand how you may have missed warning signs or believed things of people that just weren't true. Learn from these experiences so that they don't become regular occurrences in your life. Greene suggests adopting an attitude of supreme acceptance, where you understand that you cannot change people and you do not expect to. When you acquire social intelligence, you can accurately see the world from other people's perspectives and understand how and why they act in certain ways. You will begin to see the motives behind their actions and predict their responses in different situations. Big idea number 6, developing social intelligence. Quote, "In the end, your goal is to identify and pierce through to what makes people unique, to understand the character and values that lie at their cores. The more you can fathom about people's pasts and their way of thinking about things, the more deeply you can enter into their spirit. In this way, you will be able to understand their motivations, foresee their actions, and recognize how best to win them to your side. You will no longer be operating in the dark." Unquote. Greene identifies 7 character traits that he calls the 7 deadly realities. These will be present in varying degrees in many social and professional situations. Knowing how to deal with these will greatly increase your success. Envy happens when someone is upset that they do not have the success of another person. It can lead to sabotage and personal attacks. You may see a hint of envy when someone exhibits extreme insecurity or behaves in an overly friendly way when they first meet someone. When dealing with envy, show some weakness in an area. Don't come across as being too gifted. Take interest in the other person's work and ask them questions. Your goal here is to appear non-threatening. Conformism is dangerous within groups. There is a tendency to defend the group's values at the risk of common sense and necessary change. When apprenticing, do not show outward signs that you disagree with this. Once you are operating from a position of mastery yourself, you will have a better opportunity to change conformism. Rigidity is the unwillingness to accept or welcome change. People who are rigid are looking for comfort and security. Accept them and this stance, but don't let yourself adopt this habit. Always stay open and willing to change. When encountering someone who is self-obsessive, you must always appeal to their self-interests in order to engage them, or offer them something in exchange for what you need from them. Keep conversations revolving around them, and you may gain a supporter. Lazy people will always look for an easy way to take credit for your work. Often, they'll engage in a project nearly at the end, right when it's almost finished, and then claim the work. They may offer to collaborate, but then leave all the work for you. When you have identified this trait in someone, avoid sharing any part of your projects and ideas. Working alone is better so that you can actually claim the work for yourself. Flightiness will be identified over time as you observe someone who always responds based on their emotions. They may be your proponent one day, and the next be dull and lackluster about any of your work. Try to maintain distance from people like this. Don't count on any offers of help, and be prepared for their mood changes. Passive aggression is a trait found in people who have a fear of direct confrontation. They will attack you with sly comments and subtlety. You're best to avoid such people, and certainly don't get involved when they're creating drama. Using these strategies when dealing with people you are sure to come in contact with will enhance your progression towards mastery. They are skills that you will continue to need, and you will become better at identifying these traits in people as you tune in carefully to what's going on around you. There are some strategies Greene offers for developing social intelligence. You can show the people around you that you are advancing their cause with the work you provide. Understand that your work is the greatest voice you have for expressing yourself. Involve people in the things you are working on and clearly demonstrate that you are open to their feedback. Pay close attention to the type of persona you project to others. You will see that you need to project different sides of yourself in different environments. Give an image that fits within expectations, but be careful to leave some mystery to this image. You must learn how to mingle and blend into all types of environments, giving yourself maximum flexibility. Seek honest feedback about how others see you. You may need to change how you communicate or express yourself to be more welcomed by others. Regardless of where you are, you will encounter people that Greene labels as fools, people who don't accomplish much or who get in the way of progress. See these people as a part of an inanimate life. Smile at them, accept them, and never waste time trying to change them. If you are unable to work within multiple social requirements, create opportunities where you do not have as much interactions with others. Keep trying to develop your social intelligence, but work more for yourself or in smaller environments. Big idea number 7. Improvements in dimension. Quote, as you emerge from your apprenticeship, you must become increasingly bold. Instead of feeling complacent about what you know, you must expand your knowledge to related fields, giving your mind fuel to make new associations between different ideas. In the end, you will turn against the very rules you have internalized, shaping and reforming them to suit your spirit. Such originality will bring you to the heights of power. Unquote. The end of your apprenticeship is really a new beginning. You have learned and applied all the information and rules that you could acquire. You're beginning to practice your life's task and put into use all the hard work of your apprenticeship. Your challenge will be to maintain an open mind, a willingness to learn, and the courage to begin to experiment and create your own ideas. In order to continue to nurture creativity, you will need to continue to ask questions and keep an element of playfulness and fun in how you view the world. Having strong discipline along with a playful side gives you what Greene calls a dimensional mind. This type of mind doesn't just regurgitate facts, it's always creating, engaging, and interacting in new ways. Creativity is within everybody, including you, but it takes work to nurture this creativity and avoid conformity. There's a great deal of risk involved because creativity involves trying things that are new and often unusual. A boldness and courage is required to step out from the rules of apprenticeship and begin to forge your own path. You still need all of the knowledge and information you can acquire, along with a willingness to apply this knowledge in new and novel ways. The passions that led you to begin your apprenticeship will now propel you in your work. Revisit the rebellion towards conformity that you may have experienced. The use of this passion and rebellion will be evident in your work. Encourage creative outlets and things in your life that challenge you to explore and discover. Adopt a humble attitude towards your work and your environment so that your mind stays open to new information. Be ready for serendipitous moments. Many masters discovered breakthroughs when they turned their conscious focus away from a problem, only to find a sudden understanding or solution occurring to them. Always carry with you a method of recording thoughts and ideas, like a journal, for instance. Keep your mind alert for insights and questions and observations, and always record these immediately. Maintain an internal dialogue between what you observe and what you think. When you're continually cycling between speculation and observation, experiment, you are able to pierce deeper and deeper into reality. Thinking creatively also means looking at things from a variety of different perspectives, which can often be fun. Look at how things are related and how they impact each other. Be careful to avoid judgment and quick conclusions. This will keep your mind open to creative possibilities. Look at what is having an impact on the world, and then ask how this can be applied in other ways. Subscribe to imagery as a tool to avoid thinking in concrete or inflexible language. Picture how things are working and imagine all the components that are involved. Use images to make sense of the world, and then convert these images to language. Try drawing your ideas before writing them out. Masters are constantly questioning their work and their understanding of it. This creates a tension that they can engage to produce exceptional results. At the point of highest tension, they may step back or let go of the project for a period of time. Often, this is when a breakthrough happens, and the master can re-engage with all the passion and excitement that drives them forward. Deadlines are another effective way for masters to create tension. As this creative process grows, always be looking for inspiration and passion. Continue to take risks and invite bold ideas. You now rely on feedback from yourself and from the public instead of your mentor. Be careful to remain flexible in your thinking and open to new ideas. Choose to enjoy the pain of the process and never take the easy way to your goals. The masters known to have the greatest creativity were the ones who participated in the longest and most intense types of apprenticeships. The connection between time spent learning and great accomplishments is clear throughout Greene's book. They were also willing to go beyond their fields of study to explore and find different answers. Anything that captures your attention is worth investigating and looking into. You, as Greene says, are the supreme hunter, ever alert, eyes scanning the landscape for the fact that will expose a once hidden reality with profound consequences. Your best learning will involve your active participation. Don't just design, experience your design. Embrace a lack of funds, as it will give you the motivation to be the most efficient and inventive with what you have. Always connect the actions you're taking with a bigger vision, a connection to reality, and a commitment to disciplined study. Big idea number 8. Mastery. Quote, high-level intuition, the ultimate sign of mastery, involves a process that is qualitatively different from rationality, but is even more accurate and perceptive. It accesses deeper parts of reality. It is a highly legitimate type of intelligence, but one that has to be understood in its own right. And in understanding it, we can begin to see that such power is not miraculous, but intrinsically human and accessible to us all. Unquote. Greene's entire book is confidently based on the belief that attaining mastery is possible for everybody. Masters have immersed themselves in watching and learning and doing and creating. They internalize every part and piece of their journey until they no longer see the parts, but gain an intuitive feel for the whole. This is not a fast process. Rather, it happens after they have spent tens of thousands of hours or more in learning and creating and practicing. They have altered the physical aspects in the brain by making all kinds of connections, so many different connections between different forms of knowledge, that they now have this intuitive, beautiful, special understanding of their craft. They've participated in years of active, engaging, and learning. They have taken their mistakes and used them to their advantage, understanding more about themselves and their world. They never stop learning and growing in their life's task. They began as apprentices, they became actively creative, and then they achieved mastery. Greene offers these final steps for progressing towards mastery. First, be in deep and intimate connection with your physical environment. Be in constant awareness of what is around you. Second, know your strengths and passions and work effectively with them. You'll be spending thousands of hours learning and developing your work. It's crucial that you enjoy most of this time and that you are able to engage your strengths for success. Third, you must make physical contact with your work. This active learning enables you to internalize each skill until the actions become an automatic part of your thinking. Next, remember that your life's task has a life of its own. This occurs when so much learning has been absorbed that the reflection of it becomes an effortless process. Fifth, keep the big picture in mind. Use strategy to direct action towards your ultimate goals. Sixth, continue to view the world through a variety of perspectives. Never become trapped by only considering your point of view. And finally, share your knowledge as far and wide as you possibly can. With advances in technology, this sharing can constitute even greater achievements by everyone. Closing notes. The key takeaway from this book is this: achieving mastery is possible for anyone who is willing to take their passions, immerse themselves in years of apprenticeship, challenge themselves to transform their learning, create their own identity, and then live a life that continually learns, understands, and shares. Actionable insights from mastery are as follows. Pay attention to your passions, your strengths, and your feelings of wonder in seeking your life's task. Make the best use of every opportunity to learn and master your gifts. Be willing to spend years as an apprentice in your field. Transform your learning and creations into mastery.